What's up, y'all? So I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be doing some cooling mods on the Vet. So I live in North Carolina, and if you live in the South, you know it's super hot and humid during the summer, and that takes away from power when you're trying to race and drive the car. So what I plan to do is a air to water setup here. Gonna mount this tank in the trunk somewhere right here, run the lines up to a coil up in front of my air-to-air intercooler, which is right here. The air-to-air, it does decent, but with this heat it's just not enough. So I'm gonna try and see if I can create an air-to-water system. So here's how it's gonna go. The ice tank is gonna be in the trunk. I'm gonna run a hose, an old hose that I have. Oh yeah, this is a budget project, so if it works, then I'll redo it the proper way. But I'm not sure if it'll work. ChatGPT said it might not work, but I still want to try it. So what I'm gonna do is have an ice tank in the back, run the hose up to the front, and pretty much I'm gonna cut that coil, have that coil up in front of the air-to-air, and I'm gonna be running ice water through that coil, cooling the air first, and then it's gonna go through the air-to-air. Hopefully the air that gets through to the air-to-air in the cooler into the charge pipe will be cool air to try and lower my intake air temps. So that's pretty much it. Things that I have: I got a pump. This was about $20 from Bass Pro Shop. I have the ice tank. This was I think like 180, 200 from Mishimoto. I have a couple fittings, like 10 bucks. I do have a 160 thermostat, but I'm gonna do that later after I do my experiment. Also, I have some distilled water and water wetter for the coolant. So I'm gonna run that after I do my experiment, because I don't want to mess up the results with changing the coolant, because I know it's gonna run better with that. So I'm gonna swap all that after I try this out first. I have a inline fuse for my pump. Have an old hose I'm gonna cut up and use, and I have this coil I'm gonna cut up and braze in. And I got that coil from a friend or a coworker. I do HVAC for a living, so that was pretty easily accessible. So overall, I feel like it'll be a pretty budget project. And if this all doesn't work out, then I already have the ice tank, and I'll just spend the money and get a TIC Performance air to water intercooler with the high ram and just sit it there and then run the lines to the ice tank and do it the right way, you know. But I'm gonna try and see if I can do it on a budget first. So to get started, I think I'm gonna start with the tank because I'm pretty excited about this. Alright, so we're gonna start by cutting this open. Box in here. I hope I get a sticker. I love stickers. So here it is. Mishimoto ice tank. We have a couple ports here for, I guess this would be the inlet and outlet, or return and supply. And that's pretty much it. I think this is a hole for if you want a in-tank pump, but I won't be running an in-tank pump. Top. Here's a vent, I guess, to get all of the air out of the system. There's also a drain. There's a drain fitting. Got a drain fitting right here. The ball valve fitting. So whenever I'm ready to drain that water, that warm water, and refill it with cold water, I'll just throw that in there. I might use some type of pipe dope or thread tape on this so it doesn't leak. Oh, that's a mount for the intake. There's a mount in there for the in-tank pump. And some hardware. This is so you can run your sensors through here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So you can run your wiring for the intake pump through there. Or if you just want to plug it, which is what I'm going to do, put a plug in there. I'll just sit the plug in there. And more hardware. More hardware. I guess for mounting it probably. I'm probably going to use like some self-tappers or something. I don't know how I'm going to mount it. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. Here's the fittings that I got. And they're just like AN fittings to barb. And just thread them in there. Like that. Put my hose on here. And then just use a hose clamp and clamp that on there too. Pretty simple. Oh no, all that hardware was for me to mount the top. Completely forgot about the top. So yeah. That hardware is for the top. I don't know how this thing works. I'll figure it out. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's all the way that way to open. Okay. The camera just randomly died. I don't know why. But, yeah, so get that open. Okay. So just a tight seal, I guess. That's smart. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this because I'm excited. So I'm going to assemble it before I mount it. There, yeah, it should go there. Alright, so I got the tank mounted. It's in there pretty good. Got those fittings in there too. I was thinking about mounting it facing that way, but that looked ugly. So I'm just gonna have to run the lines. Probably gonna snake it around here and try and hide it and run it down back behind the carpet. Also have the pump. Gonna run these wires pretty much the same way, probably up top, so that if there is a leak, these wires don't get wet. But I'm at a stopping point for tonight because I need a fitting for this right here. The fitting that they sent only fits this side, but it doesn't fit this side. So I'm gonna try and find a fitting like this to a 3/4 barb so that I can put the holes on just like I can do on this side. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna need some more wire. It says use 18 gauge wire, so I'm gonna go grab some of that and continue on with the process. Alright, so I had to run to the store to grab a few things. I got some wire to wire the pump up. So I was trying to find a fitting that'll fit on this. So that thread to 3/4 barb so that I can run the hose from that, but I couldn't find anything that would even fit that. So what I did was I got a little piece of 1-inch hose. So I'm gonna put that on there, and then I have this 1-inch to 3/4 barb fitting. Put this 3/4 in here, and then, or the 1-inch in here, and then the 3/4 goes on the hose, and then we'll go in here. So that should work as far as that part. Then 3/4 on that end up to the coil, and then 3/4 back. And yeah, that's pretty much. Oh yeah, and I got this for my drain. I eyeballed it. I think it's about 1/2 inch, and it is. So I'll put a hose clamp on that. Focus. I'll put a hose clamp on that and then run that drain out right here, and we should be good. These are the holes I used to have for my active mufflers, the MPP. So I'll just run it out there since I already got the holes there. So yeah, now I'm gonna start. I'm gonna try and mount the pump somewhere here. Not sure. I was thinking about trying to use these somehow, some way, but I'm not sure if that'll hit the trunk. For now, I'm just gonna wire it up. I'm gonna wire everything up outside like this. I'm gonna run all the hoses just outside. Not gonna tuck anything, just to see if it works before I clean it up super neat and do a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, it doesn't even really work out and I end up scrapping the whole idea. You know, I don't want to get too permanent. So yeah, that'll be the game plan. Get started on that wiring right now. Alright, so here's where I'm at. I cut the coil. Didn't realize it would look this ugly, but I cut the coil. This is gonna be up front, which isn't gonna look too good, but depending on how well it does, I'll probably just spray paint it or something. I don't know. It's temporary. So I'm gonna cap this off right here. This is gonna be the supply. So water's gonna come in here. It's gonna go through the tubes. And come back up and then come out of here. So this idea didn't work out how I thought it would, so I scrapped the whole coil idea. I'm still gonna show you guys what I did though. Can't remember if I showed you guys, but I got that drain, ran through there. Got this supply hose, ran to the pump. I don't really know where I want to mount the pump, so that's why right now I'm doing like a temporary setup. I might mount the pump in the wheel well and then run the lines up there and then reroute it somehow. I'm not sure, but for now, just to do a little test, I have it wired up. I have the pump wired here. On the positive side, I have a inline fuse, 7.5 amp. That's what they recommended for that pump, just in case you get too many amps. And then I have a switch, on and off switch. And I'm gonna tuck this away. Probably gonna put this inside here. Just run it through the center console and put it in there so I could just open that up and hit the switch. Kind of like I did with my two-step. So I have my two-step in here and I just hit that switch. Whenever I'm ready to do my two steps, I might do the same thing right here with that switch. So it goes from there, runs through the firewall, and I have it connected up there in the fuse panel. And then the ground for the pump, I just have that running through, and it's up there, it's grounded to a chassis ground. And now I have this switch. I switch it on, pump starts. Don't want to pump it too much dry, but yeah, pump starts. Now, since I'm excited and I want to do a little test, I got some water and I'm just gonna fill the tank up and then run it through the pump, get a little piece of hose and spray it back into the bucket on the other side. But I just kind of want to see how much pressure this pump pumps with, because it doesn't sound like it pumps very hard, but it does say it's 800 gallons per minute, which I kind of doubt, but who knows. Or maybe it was 500 gallons per minute, but yeah, that doesn't really sound right to me, because that's a pretty small pump. But yeah, like I said, who knows. So I'm just gonna fill it up with water, not too much because I don't want it to come out of the return side, but I'm gonna put some water in it and then run that pump and see what we got. And since I don't want to make a mess, I got a little pump to pump my pump for the pump. Should start flowing on its own once I get it going. There it is, kind of flowing. Flowing pretty slow. Just make sure that's not leaking. No leaks. And just give it a hand. So I got the tank filled up. First I want to test my drain. So I'm just gonna turn that and let's see how it drains. And you can see through there, it's draining pretty good. Just cut that off. That drained a lot better than I thought it would, actually. I just gotta find a way to bleed that water out of here. That's good enough. So that drained pretty good. Water is back in the bucket. Now I'm gonna pour it back in there. Yeah, my hand pump takes too long. Gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Alright. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to see if this pump really flows some water. Alright, so I got my switch here, got my bucket, ready to catch some water. And here we go. And my pump is not pumping. Maybe the pump is too high and it's not getting any water flow. That definitely could be the issue. Let me try and angle it a different way. Oh yeah. And that's all the water. I think that definitely might be 800 gallons per minute, or maybe 500 at least. That was pretty quick. That was a lot more water than I thought. So it pumped the water into this bucket pretty quick. A lot quicker than I thought it would. But I am going to have to mount the pump lower so that the water can flow through the hose to the pump. You know, in my head I was thinking the pump would pull the water, but I guess it only kind of pulls the water once it already has the water flowing down to it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find somewhere to mount it that'll let it drain to the pump first, and then allow the pump to pump the water. But yeah, so another thing I almost forgot. I have to put some mesh on that fitting in there so that this hose doesn't suck up any ice. Because if it sucks up a piece of ice, then that ice is gonna probably get to my pump and clog it, and I won't be getting any water flow until that ice melts. So I'm gonna wrap this screen around there and then put a hose clamp on it, and that should be good enough to block the ice from getting through. Alright you guys, so there's been a slight change in plans. I picked up this little air to water heat exchanger because it's gonna fit a little bit better than this, and it's gonna cool better than this as well, and it looks a lot better. This is really ugly, and all these fittings, I'll have to paint all this, and it's just a lot easier. I think this was like 150 bucks, so not super expensive, but yeah, it'll work a lot better. I don't have to worry about brazing anything in for the fittings. We already have the 3/4 right here, and yeah. So, in terms of the pump situation, I think I'm just gonna sit the pump here for now. I just have the 3/4 to the 1 inch to go over that because I couldn't find another fitting to screw onto that, so I just got this tubing to put it over. And once I fill this up with water, it's gonna sit and just come straight in here. I don't have to worry about mounting it lower so it can have the fall that it needs to get the water in there. The water, I'll be able to see the water going in there right here too, so that's good. And then I'll just run that hose out. As for the inside of this tank, I drained the water and I'm gonna put that screen on there now. So I have this, and I'm just gonna put that around there so no ice goes through and jams up the pump, and then put a hose clamp on it, and that should be good. So once I'm done with that, only thing left will be to run the hose up to the front and to that, and then run it back, run the return back to that right there, and we'll be done. Fill it up with ice. Well, first I have to test it, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and hook up my HP tuners RTD and see my intake air temps, go for a drive. Before I mount that, I'm gonna go for a drive and everything and see what my temps are looking like, and then I'm gonna mount it and then go for a drive again with put some ice in it and see if it actually lowers my temps, to see if all this actually works or if it was for nothing. Alright, so I'm finally done with everything, plumbing it in. Got the hoses ran kind of temporarily, they're just sitting there. And I know the supply hose is running uphill a bit, but this pump has about 40 foot of head, so going up 1 foot shouldn't affect it, and then running out, 10 more feet shouldn't affect it much. But I ran it through the side skirt all the way down here, brought it up here. I'm gonna go around the battery, try and tuck it away from the headers. Goes down there and comes out right here. So once it comes out here, I'm plumb it into that, and then I'm just gonna mount that right there. So I got everything pretty much done. Now all I have to do is do some logging and see my temps before and after. Also, I can't remember if I showed it, but I got that screen. Got that screen in there on that so no ice gets through. Alright you guys, so here we go. Intake temp is 95 degrees. Coolant is 201, and I can double check the coolant. It's 201, so that's pretty accurate. RPM. Alright, so I'm just gonna take a drive and keep an eye on the intake air temps, and then we'll do it before and after. Had to make a quick stop to get some gas. I'm only getting a couple gallons because then I'm gonna mix it with some E85. Try and get the same mix that I had before. I want to try and mix it, instead of just throwing 93 in it, I'm gonna mix it again because I know E85 cools, and I just kind of want to get the same results. So I don't want it to be running hotter because, it's not on E85 now. So now time to go get some E. What'd you say?
You race that thing, young buck?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
You got
I take it to the track sometimes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So hey man, what model is this?
It's a '09 C6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just souped it up a little bit.
Yeah, I put a supercharger on it and cam and some stuff.
Well, you got it, ain't you? You got a lot tied in it, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
I know you enjoy just messing around with it.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, man. Be safe out there, bro.
Right.
I say, damn, look at this shit right here.
Thank you. Alright, so I got the bumper back off, getting ready to mount it. Also doing an oil change on the truck. Give it a second. Right there. So I'm gonna mount this up and see how it goes. So I got it all mounted up. Looks pretty good. Covers the whole air to air, so all of the air going to the air to air should be cooled. Hoses are ran through there, ran to the tank in the back, and now all I gotta do is put on the bumper and check the temps. So I had to trim the bumper a little bit on the inside so that it'll clear. But it looks good. Looks pretty good. See right there. It's kind of hitting it. Alright, now time for ice. Go upstairs and grab some ice and some water and fill it up. So I'll fill it up with water. Just gonna kind of hit the switch to pull some of that water through the lines and up through the front. Haven't had any start returning yet, so I'm guessing it's all in the lines. And in the front heat exchanger, put some more in it. Probably should have checked for leaks first, but I know it's pretty tight. So yeah, no leaks. Now hit the pump again. Okay. We got some water coming back now. And everything is full. Full system. Now I got some ice. Dump all the ice in. And let me see. That's about the perfect level right there. I don't really want it to be up above the return. I mean, I don't know if that really would affect anything, but I just want it to be able to pour in, you know, to get proper flow, so I know that it's still coming in But yeah, we'll let that cool down a bit, and I hear something leaking, so I'm gonna go check for leaks again. Alright, so now we're ready to go test it. Looks like the ice is doing what it's supposed to do. This thing is sweating pretty good. My ice is melting pretty fast. They're all thin now. But all the water is cold. Check the front and see if that's sweating up front. Yep, it's sweating, nice and cold. Alright, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think we're ready to go test it out. So I took it out again and realized I forgot the most important part, the 85. It was running about the same temperature. Actually, it was a little bit cooler, and I was wondering, you know, why isn't it cooler than that? I thought it should have been, you know, a little bit cooler. And I remembered the 85, forgot to put it in. So the 85 should help it run a little bit cooler, like it was earlier. So we'll see. Outside temperature is about the same, honestly. It wasn't really that hot today, and now it still kind of feels about the same, so we'll see. Alright, so I just got back from the drive, and all my ice melted pretty fast. This box is pretty warm, and as you can tell by the tone of my voice, it did not work out too well, or it didn't work how I thought it would. So it worked for a little bit, but I think the ice just melted. The ice just melted too fast, and when it was working, it didn't work that great. I mean, it wasn't a huge difference. It was only a couple degrees. So, alright, so here we go. This is when I was just cruising before the ice tank. Intake temp is 90 degrees. Just kind of cruising at 40 miles an hour. Here, still cruising 44 miles an hour. Intake temp is 86 degrees. Here, now I'm on the highway cruising at 70. Intake temp is 88. Still cruising 88. And then these are a couple minutes apart, so about 3 minutes apart. Intake temp, this was after a pull, small pull. Intake temp was 99. This is after cruising for a little bit. Intake temp is 90. And then, okay, here's with ice. So 5:13 p.m. We're at 82 degrees. 82. Still cruising. We're at 86 degrees. I think this is when I stopped and I grabbed some more ice from the gas station. Then I came back to get gas. Then cruising again, we're at 82. So it seems to be working a little bit here. If that'll focus. Alright, yeah, so we're at 82. Now here we're on the highway, 84. So it's really only about a 4-degree difference from earlier on the highway doing 70. This is, and I got off the highway to turn around, it went up a bit because I wasn't moving, 88. This is when I had just got back on the highway, 90. This was after a small pull, 99. And that's pretty much it. After a small pull, they're both the same exact temperature. But at this point, all my ice had already melted, and all my water is warm. So I'm gonna be taking back or returning that heat exchanger up front. It looks nice, pretty clean, but it didn't do what needed to be done. And I think I might return this box too, just because it might be too small, so that ice is just melting too fast. And also I'm not sure if it's insulated very well. I mean, it wasn't an expensive box. It was only about I think 200 bucks, but might be able to find something better that's a little bit more insulated and slightly bigger. Only issue I run into with trying to find a bigger one is it'll be too tall. So I don't want one too tall, but I need one that's wider. But we'll see. I'll get back to the drawing board. It didn't work out, but it was still a good experiment for science, for my curiosity. I guess ChatGPT proved me wrong. I'll admit it. So now I guess I'm gonna go with the TIC Performance High Ram, or TIC Performance air to water intercooler brick, and then sandwich that in between a high ram, and do it all over again and test that thing and see how much better the temps are. So thank you guys for watching, coming along on this little science experiment with me. But that's it. I am glad I didn't try to make this work, because all that brazing that I would have had to do and all those fittings that I would have needed to make it work, it would have been a lot of work for nothing. So it's a good thing I grabbed that other one.